Mr. Weiner, good to have you on board here in Toronto. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
So, in your own firsthand account, we heard from the sergeant, A.D. Nelson. He described what he was told or he saw, but you were there in the immediate. You saw everything in front of you?
Absolutely. I was absolutely there. I stood right next to the policeman as Mr. Ujiri had tried to enter the court. It is a fact that Mr. Ujiri had not shown his badge, his display. He had it in his hand. It was at his side. He tried to enter the court. The policeman intervened, put his arm out on Mr. Ujiri's chest, kind of pushed him a little. Mr. Ujiri stopped, tried to go forward again. The cop then intervened again physically. No words were spoken, and then Mr. Ujiri did shove the policeman backwards. Then a tremendous amount of fans intervened, Warrior fans. One gentleman in particular, you can see in the video, he intervened with the policeman. Other security personnel showed up. Then Mr. Ujiri had gotten his badge visibly there. There's an opening right there where you can walk onto the court to the right of the basket, and then he walked onto the court. This probably took about 30 seconds, and that was it.
But you saw he had credentials, just not around his neck.
I don't believe the policeman could see the credentials. He had them by his side, covered in his palm, so they were not visible at all.
See. But the police officer, he made first physical contact.
He did first contact Mr. Ujiri by preventing him from entering the court, putting his palm onto his chest.
I see. And which was responded by Mr. Ujiri putting his hand up in front of the police officer. And as the one account...
I didn't say that. What I said was Mr. Ujiri backed up. He tried to go forward again. The policeman again stopped him. And that's when Mr. Ujiri shoved the policeman back with two hands.
With two hands?
Yeah, he took both hands and shoved the policeman back in the chest. I don't believe he struck him or hit him in the face. He shoved him in the chest.
I see. Interesting, because that's an important distinction, because the reports that we have here is he allegedly palmed him in the face. You're saying not at all in the chest.
He two-handed shoved him in the chest. That's what happened.
Forcefully?
Yes, very forcefully. I was surprised about that.
At that point, you're saying other people intervened?
Fans around the area, then right in front of me saw what happened, and a gentleman came out of his seat, got in front of the policeman, and then security were there instantly afterwards. Now, Mr. Ujiri, the badge was fully exposed. Everybody could see it, and they got him onto the court almost right after that.
But one account says that the police officer, even before, I guess, after having been pushed, shoved, or palmed, or whatever, he wanted to come back at Masai Ujiri, and people kept them apart.
I don't know what he wanted to do. After Masai shoved him, he was out of the picture, and within moments, Ujiri got onto the court.
Were other officers present? And
they had showed up after the shove, yeah.
I see. And everybody went their own separate ways at that point?
Yeah, pretty much.
My understanding, too, is it was Kyle Lowry, Raptors player, who came over and sort of secured Mr. Ujiri and pulled him into, I guess, their entourage.
I don't really know what happened after Ujiri. Ujiri was standing right next to me while this happened as well. They're both right in front of me, literally inches away. But the court is about 7 feet away from that. So once the cop was out of the way, once other security personnel showed up, they moved him towards the court. I exited the space.
Did you hear any words exchanged?
There were no words exchanged. There was no discussion.
So it all happened pretty quickly.
Oh, easily 20 seconds or less.
I see. And but it looked
maybe 30 seconds.
Did it look threatening and confrontational?
It's always surprising when a civilian physically touches a policeman, and that's usually a no-no.
Raptors executive accused of shoving a deputy at last night's game. KPIX5's Katie Nielsen spoke with a witness who says what's being reported on social media isn't exactly what happened. Katie?
Tonight, I talked with Greg Weiner. He's had season tickets to the Warriors for more than 20 years and was standing less than a foot from the deputy during the incident. He said this was all just a big misunderstanding due to the post-game chaos.
So it was about 30 seconds of action. We laughed and I didn't think anything about it except, oh wow, that was something else.
Greg is describing the physical confrontation he saw at the end of last night's game. This cell phone video showing the immediate aftermath when Raptors president Masai Ujiri got into a scuffle with an Alameda County Sheriff's deputy while trying to get onto the court for the post-game celebration.
Policeman steps in front of me, stops Mr. Ujiri by touching him in the chest. Mr. Ujiri stepped back, still tried to enter the court. Policeman stopped him again. Then Mr. Ujiri shoved the policeman.
The deputy told investigators he was trying to stop the Raptors president because he didn't know who he was and he was not wearing proper credentials.
I think Mr. Ujiri was excited his team won the championship, just wanted to join those fellows. And I think the policeman was trying to do his job and not allow unauthorized people onto the court.
The sheriff's department did not arrest Ujiri immediately after the incident due to the circumstances.
We did show restraint in the fact that he was the president of the Raptors. We did not want to go out onto the court and create any type of spectacle.
The sheriff's department says they have video of the entire incident, both from the body cameras of the deputy involved and also the security cameras inside Oracle. The deputy went to the hospital with head pain after the incident. Greg says the deputy was never hit or punched.
All I saw was Mr. Ujiri shove the policeman right in the chest. That's what I saw.
The sheriff's department says they will turn the investigation over to the district attorney's office next week, and that's why they can't release the body camera video. It's part of this criminal investigation. Now, Ujiri was actually fined twice by the NBA last year, once for confronting a ref, the other time for cursing during a speech. In Oakland, Katie Nielsen, KPIX5.